It's been a month and a half since the One Up Modified Motor Tour is taken to the track, but we are back better than ever here for race number 6, the halfway point of the inaugural 2025 season for these modified cars in One Up competition. And this week, we head out west for the only West Coast race on the schedule at the Mesa Marin Speedway in Bakersfield, California for 75 laps, and this is going to be probably one of the great races of the year. I'm pretty sure of it, if the first 5 were anything to go off of. And alongside me in the booth to bring you all the action tonight is Lane Sanders, back with us once again. Great to have you with us. And man, it's great to give these West Coast fans something to watch for these modifieds. And these drivers have been itching for a while to get back to action. I'm glad it's here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And, modifieds being really a northeastern sort of sport, bringing them out to the West Coast, it is a completely different atmosphere out here. And the fans are loving it, the drivers are loving it, and this racetrack, this half-mile, high-banked oval, it's going to provide a lot of close quarters action and a lot of close racing. Would we see a lot of action like we did a few races ago at Huntsville? Who knows? We might have cautions, we might not. We'll see when the drivers take the green flag here shortly.
And from what we saw in practice and qualifying, this race is surely going to devolve into a fight for the inside groove. I'm curious to see how aggressive these guys are going to be to try and claim a spot in that bottom line. Maybe even put those bumper bars to the rear end of the guy ahead of them, shove them out of line. We'll see what happens over the course of the next 75 laps this evening. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for tonight's 75 laps of action, and it's Sean McHale on pole position for the first time in his career, looking to give Incendia Motorsports the honor of having the first team to put both their drivers in victory lane this season. His teammate, of course, Colby Bogdansky, who won last time out at Jukasa. Victor Reyes lines up in second position, his best starting spot of the year. Van Heerden in third. He's got a lot on the line in his battle with Nicolas Santiago for a potential truck ride next year. It's going to be white hot battle between those two to see who can get ahead of the other in the points, because Van Heerden, of course, starts third tonight. Santiago all the way down in 14th, and that's important because Nicolas Santiago, to this point, is the only driver this season to have top 5s in every top 10s rather, in every single race.
Absolutely, and I'm going to point your direction to 4th place. That is where your points leader, Ashton Blevins, is. Ashton Blevins has 12 points on Seth Bayless. Bayless, meanwhile, he's back in the 10th position. This is a big opportunity for Blevins to extend his point lead on Bayless. We'll see what Seth is able to do in that number 34. We'll see if he's able to bring his number 34 up to the front and hopefully make this championship all that much more exciting.
The question for both Bayless and Blevins, though, will they be able to get to the bottom in an orderly fashion, or will we see some wheel-to-wheel action, the likes of which we've only seen a couple of times this year? But, with that being said, we've got 24 of the best modified drivers in the series ready to take to the track, and we're ready to bring you that action now. It is the One Up Modified Motor Tour from the Mesa Marin Raceway, and the green flag getting set to get this great race underway, so stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss a second of what's to come. Getting ready for a good one here at Mesa Marin. It is McHale and Reyes on the front row. The green flag's already out, and for 75 laps, the modifieds take on Bakersfield, and the McHale car gets a big launch down into turn 1, and he's bringing Van Heerden with him. It's already a fight to get to that inside line as Reyes struggles to even maintain momentum up high.
Man, he had a really bad start. He's back to 3rd. He's going to have to get a slot quick. That 98's going to hold 2nd place. But McHale, he's going to get about half a car length on the number 98 of Van Heeren. Van Heeren has pulled right to the rear bumper of that number 22 of McHale. Now 3rd place, I believe that's the 45 of Jack Davis. Davis was really strong back at Huntsville when I saw him last. But man, that 27 of Victor Reyes, he is dropping like a stone. He's already outside the top 5 at this point, but that outside line, it is just making him fall like a rock.
And right behind him, Ashton Blevins, another one starting to fall back through the field. He started 4th. He's made it through the field. Ooh, Santiago, a big slide out of turn 4. Looks like he got hooked by maybe the 84 of Austin Hiller. Either way, he was able to maintain his pace and didn't really lose that much time. Good on him to keep that car straight, because that could have been disastrous in the opening stages.
Oh, absolutely. And here we're going to focus on the 6 of Juan Diaz. Diaz started in that position. He's already up into the top 5. He's in 4th. The 27 finally is a spot. He's going to slip in behind the 57. He washes up the track. Here comes the 34. That's Seth Bayless. Bayless moves into the top 10. He's going to go underneath the 27, ruin Seth McHale's day. And McHale, he might get put 3 wide here with the 56, and that is the number 49 as well.
Yeah, Chase James in the 49. He started down in 17th. He's already fighting his way to the top 10 as we got 3 wide between Foster Salyers, Ali Ahmed, and Ashton Blevins. He entered this race as the points leader, but he is going to lose a lot of points if this finishes the way it is right now. He's fallen out of the top 10, and he's going to lose even more spots now as Krastev in the 44. The Bulgarian gets his elbows out trying to pass 2 at once.
And he had to check up, Blevins did, because Seth McHale got very out of shape out of the corner, got him 3 wide, and McHale was able to finally get himself in behind the 49, but he lost 8 spots.
Victor Reyes having a very poor time of things at the start of the race. He's already slotted back into 10th, which is good for him, but he needs to start picking up places quickly. As Santiago in the 54, another one starting to fall backwards through the field, right behind his teammate Blevins. And talking about this 54 of Nicolas Santiago, one guy I feel who's watching this race very intently is a Superstar Series legend, Jeffrey Finguy, because he is the one who's going to decide the fate of both Santiago and Van Heerden going forward for this season. Whoever of those two, rumor says, beats the other in the points, that's who Finguy's going to consider to move up to a Turbo Truck Series seat. So this is a very big deal for both of these drivers.
Oh, absolutely. And I've known Jeffrey Finguy for years. I've raced against him. He's a fierce competitor, and he demands the best. He demands the best from himself, his team, and his cars. And not only just in the Cup Series, but all the way down throughout the other divisions. And I see Finguy, he will pick who he believes will be the best for the run.
Yeah, it's all comes down to who beats the other in the final standings this year. Nicolas Santiago has that advantage right now. Looking at my notes here, Nicolas Santiago entered this race 3rd in the points ahead of Van Heerden in 4th, 16 points apart. But with Van Heerden now running in the 3rd position, as it looks like Jack Davis has managed to find a way past the 98. Regardless, Van Heerden running 3rd, Santiago well outside the top 10. That could shift that battle in a dramatic fashion.
Oh, absolutely. And with this tight field, 24 cars, as we said, this tight field, points are very hard to make up. You're going to have to fight for every position, fight for every point. And you're going to start seeing people do some desperate things. And meanwhile, Seth McHale has checked out. He has moved away from the 45 of Jack Davis. Jack Davis, who started 5th, he was able to get that number 45 into 2nd place. The 98 car, that is Van Heeren. He is holding down the 3rd position where he started. Oh, that's the 25 and 4th.
Yeah, Bogdansky. He won at Jukasa last time out. And that's a teammate to Sean McHale, who has been leading this race from the very beginning. Foster Salyers now focused on. Santiago's found a gap behind him to ride for a little while. We're already on lap 18 of this race. The laps really do fly by here at Mesa Marin. And for Sean McHale, he has led out all 17 laps so far. He's about to lead his 18th lap of the day. But Jack Davis in this 45, we saw what he could do out at Huntsville. I'm curious to see what he can do now with this 22 here in Bakersfield.
Oh, yeah, and Jack Davis really surprised me when we saw him at Huntsville. He was in a wreck at one point, if I remember correctly, and he drove through the field, not once, but I believe he drove through the field twice. And now he has gunned down Sean McHale. Let's see what he's able to do with the 22 as they're now within about 3.5-ish tenths. That's the 98 in 3rd, is close to a 2nd. That is Van Heeren. Van Heeren is starting to lose touch with the top 2. McHale probably had a bad lap, really irritated his tires. He's able to start putting a gap between himself and Jack Davis, excuse me. Davis is trying to gun it for that number 22. He wants to get a win on this season.
Absolutely he does, because Davis would be, if he were to get that win, would be the first driver in the modifieds to get to 2 wins, and that's a big deal. as looks like Nicolas Santiago has made his way back up to the top 10. He's running 10th position right now. Very solid stuff from him. But Ashton Blevins in this 56, he is currently running in 14th position, and he's about to lose that to Austin Hiller in the 84. This is very uncharacteristic from this 56, who we normally see at the sharp end of the field contending for race wins on the daily. But this is very unlike what we've seen from that 56 so far, as Davis starts to charge down McHale for the lead.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start seeing Jack Davis really trying different ways to get around that number 22. But as for Ashton Blevins, that car just seems very sickly to me. Just not able to get the car to stick to the bottom. The 27 had some problems with that. At the start of this race, we saw when Victor Reyes tried getting to the inside, I believe around lap 2 or 3, and he was not able to get it to stick. But Blevins is just, that car is just not handling right. They gonna have to do something here. Man, that 45 car, Jack Davis, really impressed with that Fanatec machine. He has been holding about 4/10 between himself and the 22 Sean McHale. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. He's probably saving his stuff for the latter half of the races. We're already 1/3 of the way through this race.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. We don't have pit stops in this series, so it's all about managing your stuff, waiting for the right time to push the go button. And for Jack Davis, he might be starting to think about it because he's really close to Sean McHale, and I feel like it's a lot easier to defend than it is to make a pass, as we've seen McHale do consistently throughout this race. As Davis now, he closes the gap again. It's down to 0.3 of a second, as Van Heerden likewise is having to defend quite hard against this 25 of Colby Bogdansky. He's trying to join his teammate on the podium.
Oh yeah, Bogdansky. I've seen Bogdansky race it. I've actually seen Bogdansky race several times over the years. I've seen him race in street stocks, I've seen him race in go-karts, and now I've seen him race in the modifieds. And I believe Bogdansky, you might see a lot of good things out of that Bogdansky kid. We'll see. But man, look at that 45. That is Jack Davis. Davis is all over number 22 of Sean McHale, the pole sitter. We'll see what he's going to be able to do.
And likewise, Bogdansky's all over the back of Van Heerden for third place. So as one Incendia Motorsports car goes on the attack, another one has to defend against Jack Davis. Look at the gap. Oh, but Davis pushes
but he had to wash up.
Yeah, he pushes up the track. That's not what he needs. I think that was him just pushing a little too hard, trying to get underneath that 22, and as a consequence of that. But even then, look at the time he's managed to gain. He's still gained half a tenth. They're right nose to tail as we enter lap 33.
He's trying everything he can to get around that 22 except for hitting him. He doesn't want to hit him and set off a big wreck. Davis has been a very cautious driver as well as being very aggressive. I know that's kind of an oxymoron, but you can be very aggressive and also be very careful. And Davis has really mastered that with these modifieds. We've seen him. I mentioned Huntsville. He was very aggressive, but he had to be very careful especially after he got in that wreck with the leader. But we're seeing now the 25. That is Bogdansky. Bogdansky's trying the same methodology that the 45 did. Ran about a tire up out of the groove, trying to get more rotation in the car, trying to get a run out of the corner. He'll carry more speed, and then he's going to be able to build a run on the 98. But overall, I think this top four has separated themselves from the rest of the field. It's 1.5 seconds from first to fourth, and then it's 3.5 to the rest of the field.
Yeah, you see Juan Diaz in that 6 car. He might be the cork in the bottle. Look at this pack forming up behind him. 57's back here. The 11 of Elias Bershi. Bayless in the 34, Santiago in the 54. They're all queuing up behind the 6 of Diaz's. Look, Bayless now takes a look underneath Elias Bershi. That's going to move him up into what I believe will be 7th place in this race. And Santiago is going to try and follow him through up to 8th.
Oh, yeah, when you get stuck on an outside line, especially on tracks like this where it's a one-groove racetrack, you aren't going to be getting those spots. You're going to be praying for a miracle to get back in line. And as we see up here, man, look at this. The 25 is right back on the bumper. Bogdansky is right on the bumper of the 98. And here's going to be careful. Here he goes to the inside.
Yeah, Bob
And he's going to get him.
He couldn't wait any longer. The two leaders were getting further and further away. So Bogdanski makes the pass on the Dutchman to move himself up into third place. Now we'll see what the 25 can do, trying to chase down Jack Davis, who is continuing to hound his teammate for the race lead.
And man, you're going to start seeing things pick up. We're approaching halfway. We'll be halfway here in a few laps. We actually have passed halfway, but man, here and he is starting to slip back. He's letting the 25. We're going to start seeing what Bob Dansky's made of. He has already made up 3/10 since he passed that number 98, and he is probably going to close in another 10th of this lap with mostly clean racetrack between him and the 45 of Jack Davis. We're going to start seeing Bob Dansky's car come to life.
We'll see what Bogdanski can do, but for right now, it looks as though I think McHale's starting to pull a bit of a gap now on Jack Davis. It was almost 7/10 of a second. It's pretty much stabilized at about 6 to 7/10. I wonder if Jack Davis in that 45 might have burnt his stuff up in that onrush trying to get past McHale in the 22, and now he's suffering the consequences for it late in this run.
Yeah, and problem with Davis's car, I think he was burning his stuff up way too much trying to get past the number 22. He's going to have to start regrouping. He lost 2/10 that lap. He's starting to slip back into the clutches of that Bob Dansky kid. We're going to see what Jack Davis is able to do. If he's able to cool his tires off and get back there, he's got 30 laps to do it, which seems like a lot of laps, but you and I both know on a short track like this where they're continuously pulling 16-second laps, that is not long at all.
And meanwhile, Juan Diaz in the 6 has slipped back a couple places, and Nicolas Santiago has found his way up into the top 5. Remember what a dreadful start to the race he had. He's found a way to rebound in a big way. He's now only one position behind the 98 of Van Heerden in that big battle that we've been keeping our eye on all race long.
Oh yeah, and he started 14th as well, and I got to give a pat on the back to Santiago, because he's played it right. He was dealt a bad hand qualifying on the outside line in the middle of the pack. He got in line, and he's been picking off cars one by one. He's been using slower cars as picks. I've been watching him this whole race, and he is performing very well. It would not shock me if he's with a little bit of luck, a little bit of management, he might even get up to third. He might catch Colby Bogdanski here. We'll have to see, because he's already running down the Flying Dutchman. That's Van Heeren. We'll see. We'll continue to watch him. We have 25 laps to go, and about 1/3 left in this race. But meanwhile, it's John McHale holding down, and he is suddenly under attack. That is Jack Davis is back on the scene.
Yeah,
Fanatec's car is here.
Yeah, he was taking his time trying to save his coolest stuff back down, and he's ready to make another charge at it. On lap 51, Jack Davis is right back in the thick of things. The gap now, about a quarter of a second between McHale and Davis. This is going to be a tight battle between now and the checkered flag, which is coming in less than 25 laps time. So if Davis is going to make this happen, he's going to have to do it in a relatively quick fashion.
Oh, absolutely. And he's got to be careful. Both of these guys have to be careful, because if they start fighting, they're going to open the door for that 25.
Oh, trouble.
Let's go, violence.
3. We got a spinner, and it's Brian Laughlin, Archer Shriak in the 75. That's going to put us under the yellow flag for the first time tonight, and this is really going to shake things up. Our first caution outside of Huntsville. And boys, this is going to do a lot to bunch up the field, and we're going to get a late race restart on our hands.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm curious to see what happened there.
Yeah, it looks like
Man,
Laughlin,
the 28 is stalled.
Looks like he beached it on the banking there in turn 3. That's a tough break for the 28, who had a pretty decent run going. He was running 17th, which is pretty good for that team. But now he's going to fall at least one lap down, possibly more, as the rest of the field cycles through. So McHale leads. He's led every lap so far. Shriak as well has lost a lap in the process. Laughlin now goes 2 laps down. We're going to get you a replay here in a moment of what transpired between Laughlin, Shriak, and potentially others to see what in the world unfolded here, because this is our first caution of the day, and it couldn't have come at a more interesting time. So here's Brian Laughlin. I think he's going to get put 3 wide top by Jesse Johns in the 9 and there's just not enough room for them. Yep, sure enough, he gets put in the wall
man.
by Johns, by Shriak. They all kind of converged into 1 point, and 3 into 1 does not go.
Yeah, Jesse Johns just cleared up like he wasn't even. He forced it in there, and then he cleared up like he was only too wide. I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest with you.
And then it looks like something stalled on the 28. She was trying to make it back around, and he tries to find a way to get it back rolling, and then he gets stuck on the banking. That's a really tough break for Brian Laughlin. He entered this race at the bottom of the points table, and this is not going to do him any good in trying to catch up to 23rd place man Foster Salyers in the 5. But so it goes in modified racing. We're under caution flag conditions, and this is going to be a big challenge for Sean McHale, because now he's not only is he going to have the entire field on his back bumper, he's going to have 2 lap cars underneath him to deal with as well.
That's going to be the big thing, especially with how dominant the bottom line is. Any one of these guys back here could jump at that opportunity and get the lead. 45 is going to have to do something. Jack Davis, Bob Dansky could do a lot of damage. The 98 car, the Flying Dutchman, Van Heeren, he could even win this race if he plays his cards right. We'll see.
And Santiago's back there lurking in 5th place too. He could be one to watch. And the thing about this will be, when we go back racing, hopefully within the next lap or two, is that 2 lap cars means that both McHale and Davis will be caught up on that top lane. This is gonna be a big restart in the making for Sean McHale, because yes, the lights go out on the safety car. We will be going back racing next time by, but with now these 2 lap cars down there, the question becomes, if McHale doesn't get a great restart and both he and Davis get caught up on that outside, who's going to be the one to capitalize?
We'll see here. The pace car pulls off. Right now, the 75 is really the only one right now. The 28's pulling up still. There he is. Jack Davis is looking to jump on Sean McHale. McHale is the control car, so we will see what he does here.
Coming out of turn 4, we're going to get a restart with approximately 17 laps to go. Heading into the zone, the green flag is out, and McHale does get a good launch off the line. He's going to clear Shriak going into 1. That is exactly what Sean McHale wanted, because now he's got the bottom, and his main challenger today is caught up on that outside.
And that is exactly not what Jack Davis wanted. He is stuck on the outside of this 28. Look at that. That's going to separate himself from the number 28 of McHale, and with 15 laps to go, this is not what Jack Davis wanted to see. But look at that. The 98, that is the Flying Dutchman. Van Heeren is on the scene. He's going to he might even go for second himself. Look at this.
Yeah, he's going for third right now on Bogdansky. He's going to get it going into turn 1, and he's now right on the back bumper of Jack Davis, trying to make a move for second place. He might try it into turn 3, nothing doing there, but now Sean McHale in that 22, he has 2 lap cars between himself and second place man Jack Davis. As this 57, we haven't seen much of him today, but he has now fought his way up into 4th place. He's gotten past Bogdansky, as does Santiago trying to get past the 25. This has been a huge shuffle of positions as we approach 10 to go.
Man, this is all the 22 of Sean McHale wanted to see. He's opened the biggest lead he has opened all night long, and second place is fighting behind a lap car. That is exactly what he wants. That is exactly what he needs. He's got 2 lap cars between himself and the 45 of Jack Davis, and Davis has got to do something. He's got to pray for a miracle to happen.
And
look who's back. Yes. It's Ashton Blevins.
Talk about miracles. Ashton Blevins was running as low as 17th at one point in this race. He started in 4th. He's fighting his way now to underneath the 57.
My goodness, look at him go.
He's going to try and move himself up into 6th place with that pass. And there's his teammate.
He's about to get 5th.
That's his teammate right alongside him, Santiago. So both of the Phantom Fury Motorsports cars are on a heck of a charge right now. We're coming to 10 laps to go, and they're running in formation, trying to get past Bogdansky and Van Heerden.
Man, and I was talking about Blevins desperately needing to get good points to keep the points battle alive. Look at that. Blevins is about to jump. Man, it looked like there was contact between the 25 and 54. Look at the 54 go. I am surprised by Santiago. He just got 2 cars in one corner. He is up to 3rd. He's about to go after Davis in the 45. He's got to get around the lap car. He's going to open the door for Blevins. Blevins dives in to get into the top 5.
Yeah, and critically, what you don't see in this mix is Seth Bayless in the 34. He's fallen back on this restart. That's going to open up a huge deficit between himself and this 56, who's charged his way up to the top 5. His next target, Christian Van Heerden, in the 98 to try and get 4th spot away. This is a huge comeback.
It looks like he's going to.
A huge comeback from Phantom Fury Motorsports. They could be challenging for a podium, a double podium, if they can just get to the 45 of Davis.
Man, and we were talking about that, how Blevins was in the bottom 10 at about halfway. This is a huge run for them, going around that lap car, the 28. Man, this is just absolutely, there was smoke, it looked like. Maybe some grass kicked up.
Yeah,
overall,
it doesn't seem like anyone's going around, so I think we're good to go. We got about 5 laps to go, and Santiago is closing in at a rapid rate on the back of this 45. He could easily get 2nd place by the time this is over, though I think Sean McHale is just that bit out of reach.
Man, and how about this 54? Santiago shot himself out of a cannon on this restart. Look at that car. He's trying, look at that. He's trying every lane, high, low, in the middle. He's trying everything in this racing groove to try to get up here, try to get around John Davis. Davis has shown he's not only good at offense, he's good at defense. So we're going to see here, Santiago gets a little contact there.
Yeah, but Jack Davis is not willing to yield. Jack Davis is not willing to yield, especially now that we're coming to 2 laps of racing to go. Van Heerden's fallen all the way down to 6th place, and he might even lose that spot. The 98's fading, the 54 is flying. Here he comes down to the inside of the 45 with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, and Santiago's only thinking, let's get points. Let's try to get as many as we can. Coming to the white flag this time by. We're about to take the white flag here. And Santiago gets him by a nose, and that's going to be a 2nd place, but I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, because Sean McHale has put on an absolute masterclass here at Mesa Marin. So through 3 and 4 for the final time, Sean McHale, for his first career win in the modifieds, he's going to put Incendia Motorsports in victory lane for the 2nd time in a row. And then Incendia Motorsports becomes the first team to put both of their drivers in victory lane this season. Santiago did get Jack Davis for 2nd. Excellent stuff from the 54. That's going to give him a huge points cushion over the 98 of Van Heerden. Blevins not quite able to get to the podium himself, but that's still a really good recovery from that 56 car. Bogdansky 5th. The 57 just beat the 98 to the line for 6th and 7th. Krastev in the 44, 8th ahead of his teammate Chase James. And Elias Bershey completes the top 10. That race really came alive in the final 20 laps or so. What an incredible finish we had tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And you saw guys that were saving their stuff. It would not surprise me if we went down and interviewed Ashton Blevins and if he would tell us that he saved his stuff, because that was all a masterclass. The 54 to 56 came alive there late, made it very exciting. The lap car separated everybody from the leaders, and ultimately, I believe it played a factor. But Sean McHale, he had one heck of a race car, a very good piece of equipment.
Yep.
And we saw it come to life, and he is now a winner here in the Modified Series.
Absolutely. But with that being said, from Lane Sanders and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for this race in the Modifieds. We're halfway home in the inaugural championship. We'll see you again in a couple weeks' time up at Elko Speedway in Minnesota. That's going to be a lot of fun, that tiny little 1/3 of a mile track that's sure to provide us some great entertainment up there. So until we see you at Elko, so long from Mesa Marin. Congratulations to Sean McHale, who put on a masterclass, led every lap of the race to score his first win, and the 2nd for the Incendia Motorsports team.